Hello and welcome to Business Africa. I am Afolake Oyinloye. We'll start this week's show with the headlines. Ghanaian farmers are complaining about a paltry increase in the producer price of cocoa. The West and Central African franc subject to criticism. Cashew nuts production, a way of diversifying Guinea-Conakry's economy. Ghana, the world's second largest cocoa producer, but cocoa farmers in the country are not happy with the low producer price of the cocoa despite the recent government's increment of the price. Muthinji and Jean-David Mihamle reports.
Ghana's government says it will pay cocoa farmers 7,600 cedis, nearly $1,920 per ton of beans during the 2016-2017 season. The announcement was made at the beginning of this month, which also marked the beginning of the new season by Deputy Finance Minister Cashew Oyinloye. The increase is nearly 12% more than last year and is seen as an effort to deter farmers from smuggling cocoa beans into neighboring Ivory Coast. The new price works out at 475 cedis per 64-kilogram bag, the main unit in which Ghana's hundreds of thousands of cocoa farmers sell the crop for export. According to news reports, some cocoa farmers in Ghana's Ashanti region, which is among the cocoa-growing areas of the country, expressed disappointment in the government over what they describe as a paltry increase in the producer price of cocoa. They say they expected an increase of over 500 cedis per 64-kilogram bag and added that the new price still meant that their cost will outweigh their income. Officials said the just-ended cocoa year, which runs from October to September, was hampered by an unusually long dry season and fell short of the government's target of 850,000 tons. Now, the country's cocoa regulator, Cocoa Board, is targeting a production of up to 900,000 tons this season. Cocoa is Ghana's most important export crop, earning vital foreign exchange for a country where economic growth has slowed down sharply since 2014. The West African economy is the world's second biggest cocoa producer behind Ivory Coast.
The West and Central African franc are outdated and need to be reviewed, says the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Carlos Lopez. Since this statement late last month, the issue has been top on the agenda for many financial institutions and experts. Fatoumata Traoré and Michael Dibi have more details.
The CFA franc has been termed obsolete by the then Deputy Secretary General of the UN and Executive Secretary of the UN Economic Commission for Africa, Carlos Lopez. From his point of view, the currency used by 14 African countries is not up to the international standard. The CFA franc is used by the countries of the West African Economic and Monetary Union and by country members of the CEMAC, Community of States of Central Africa. The currency has been existent for more than 70 years. It has been subject to more and more criticisms, and detractors are calling for the reform or complete rejection. Among the supporters for the maintenance of the CFA are the French Minister of Finance, Michel Sapin, the Governor of the Bank of France, Villeroy Garot, and the Governor of the Central Bank of State of West Africa, Temoko Kone. They are all concerned of the consequences in the event of high inflation if the currency declines. But one thing is sure, on the continent, the question continues to be debated within civil society officials and researchers.
Joining us to weigh in on this issue is Ndongo Sila, an economist from Senegal. You're welcome. Now, you've participated in the publication of a book, Take Africa Out of Monetary Bondage. Who really benefits from the CFA franc?
Le franc CFA, c'est une monnaie vieille de 70 ans.
Franc CFA is a 70-year-old currency, but it has not been promising as such. The CFA franc has not boosted most economies in countries where it is used. There are 14 countries which use this currency, and that includes Comoros. Among these 15 countries, you have 11 that are classified among the latest developed countries. It means that they are ranked low in terms of human development and socio-economic development. a country that are declined in terms of the economies. For example, Cameroon, Gabon, Cote d'Ivoire, Congo-Brazzaville, and countries which are more advanced in the 1980s than today in Franc zone. The Franc zone has not helped to send their trade within these communities.
In your opinion, do you think the elites benefit more from this currency?
There have been many projects emerging. However, it has not emerged with the CFA franc. I'm not just saying it, we must also sensitize our people. Now, for us to organize to see how to engage this output, there is an alternative which is emerging. That is the project of a single ECOWAS currency. It was originally planned for 2015 but postponed for 2020. It may be that this will be postponed, but then we have to go beyond the difficulties of CFA has placed us.
Well, don't you think in changing the Franc CFA, this could result to economic turbulence or even political unrest?
It is not known what the future will be, but in all cases, freedom has a price, because each time we say that we want to exit from the CFA franc zone, it is always trouble, and I think this is still slavery. The day you liberate from the masters, you'll die of hunger, disease, or thirst. These types of things, in my opinion, there is a price to pay for freedom, and I think we have a sufficient economists qualified to do a good job of our monetary management.
Guinea-Conakry is experiencing a blossom in cashew production. The government says it's a way of diversifying the economy. Already, World Bank has forecasted an economic rebound of 4% in 2016. Eileen Wangalwa and William Bahia have more details.
In Guinea, cashew nut producers continue to benefit handsomely from the vibrant sector in the international market. A ton is currently trading at $1,500. However, to get the end product, a lot of work and effort is put into it. The work we do is difficult. If you have to help us, it will be to help us to find a way to avoid the fire, even if it means getting a machine for this purpose that will help us. Because of this handicap, it makes our work difficult. Guinean authorities encourage the cultivation of the cashew tree, the tree that produces the cashew nut. The authorities are trying to diversify the economy, but also to fight against mass unemployment that affects over 50% of the university graduates.
We have given up everything now to give our all to the cultivation of cashews. Young people who have completed their studies and have not found work, they practice agriculture and cashew nut farming, and a day will come when they will not want to work in an office. If in a year you can get about 5,000 euros, you'll be doing something else. That is why everybody is moving towards the culture of cultivating cashews.
Now that report brings us to the end of this week's show. Thanks for watching. The conversation continues on our social media platforms, both in English and French. Take care and see you soon.